I had a sale that sold for over $200 within 2 days of listing it. I'm going to be sharing with you some of my favorite sales for the month of February. I didn't quite hit my goal, so I'll be sharing with you and talking about my February numbers, how they closed, why I didn't hit my goal, but why I'm also pretty excited about where I'm heading and what happened in February. So I'll be sharing my February numbers quickly, sharing my top selling brands, 20 top selling brands that made me the most money in February, and then sharing, I think I pulled maybe 25 of some of my favorite and most learnable items that sold for me in February. So let's get right into it. If you are new to the channel, quick background on me. I am a reseller on Poshmark and eBay. I work 15 to 20 hours. I am a full-time mom. Kids come first. I have a preschooler and half day, so that's really my kid-free time. If you guys want to check out some day in the life, so real life videos of how I actually get some work done and the chaos that is my life, I'll link some videos up there for you. So 15 to 20 hours. I do have virtual assistants though, so I will link videos up here on my processes, my virtual assistants, definitely how I am able to make, over 100,000 gross revenue last year. I made 6 figures last year because I have virtual assistants and because I get ahead on my photos. I sell mainly women's clothing, shoes, and purses. However, this channel is dedicated to helping you learn how to look at your numbers, how to analyze your numbers, how to use the tools that these platforms get us to make money, regardless of what you have access to, regardless of what your knowledge is in, regardless of what you sell. So even if you don't sell women's clothing, shoes, and purses, this channel can really benefit you in learning how to make money reselling. I do thrifted, liquidation, and Goodwill outlet bins. I'm going to talk a little bit about the liquidation and the thrift stores and kind of why I've moved away from liquidation. I still have it in my stores. I have not bought liquidation in probably over 6 months, and I'll talk a little bit about that in my video today. So let's get into it. Let's hop into my numbers. What we're looking at is the Sarah Style Sales and Trends dashboard. If you are new to the channel, it is linked down below. It's a Google sheet where you just put in your information, your whatever inventory that you have. You can set your own goals for this, and then you will have this information as well. So I ended the month of February $7,184. I have a goal of $10,000 a month, so you can see I was significantly short of that. However, February typically for me is a slower month. Last year I did $7,800, so it was still in the 7,000 range. A little bit more, and I'm going to talk about that in a minute, a little bit more on a gross revenue perspective, but February 1 is a shorter month, so there's less months for people to be shopping, and it's kind of not really, is for what I sell clothing wise, it's not really a big selling month because you have Christmas and people are broke in January, sometimes you have Christmas money that they're spending and such, but February, you're in winter, so you probably have most of the winter stuff you need, but it's not quite spring yet to where you're starting to shop for spring. I will say, it's March when I'm filming this, and sales have already started picking up a little bit. I think people are starting here. It's supposed to snow this weekend, but right now it's 50 degrees at 8 o'clock in the morning. So it's feeling a little bit like spring. I think things are going to start picking up. So that's one reason. The other reason a couple other reasons that my sales were down, even compared to last year. So February normally is down, but compared to last year, two things. One is we had the highest pandemic peak of COVID cases January, and then into the beginning of February, they started to go down. So a lot of people were really just sick. And then you have inflation is just ridiculously high right now. And then you also have, there's a war going on. People are talking about it possibly being a world war. So that can also have impacts on the economy. For me personally, if you've been following my channel, you know that we got COVID at the end of January. All 4 of us got it. I have a son. He thankfully was at his mom's house when we got COVID, so he stayed over there and didn't get it. But the rest of us, me, my husband, and my 2 little children, all got COVID. So it means I was sick. I was taking care of sick kids. My husband was gone for the week prior to that, so I was single parenting. So honestly, the first week and a half of February, I was still listing every single day. I was still shipping every single day when I had packages. I was intentionally suppressing my sales though, so it makes complete sense to me that I had a slower month. I was not running sales like I normally would. I was not sending offers like I normally would. I was not doing all the things I normally would. I was still keeping the algorithm happy, but I was not kind of putting that extra in. So the first week to even 2 weeks, it makes sense my sales were down, and that's going to play into my February. I did sell 208 items still though, so that's exciting. You know, those first couple weeks of February, I was working 5 hours. So any sale that and 5 hours, like probably max, I was shipping and I was listing drafts that I already had. That's it. I wasn't sourcing. I wasn't taking photos. I wasn't, I was listing drafts that my VAs already had. I wasn't doing YouTube video. I was sick. I was not one of the ones who got mild colds as symptoms. It's been a month and I'm still fatigued and brain fog. So it definitely hit us hard. And then also taking care of kids who got it as well and got sick. So 208 sales. My average sale price is $34.54. My sell-through rate is 8.9%. If you're new to the channel, new to reselling, new to sell-through rate, this just means out of all of the inventory that I had for sale, 8.9% of it sold. That is down for me. I usually like to be closer to the 15%. However, it's a shorter month, so you're going to have less sales just because you have less days of the month, and then all the things that we just talked about. So, well, hopefully, I'm hoping to get that kind of coming back up in March. I have done a couple things on eBay that have worked to kind of bump my sales back up from when I intentionally suppressed them, and I will link a video up above on 5 things that I did that really got me back to my normal selling routine on eBay. Excuse me. I did only get to 71% of my goal. That's a $10,000 goal. I didn't hit it last February, but that is kind of my goal. This is what I want to talk about. This middle chart right here, this is my cost of goods. This is my average profit. Not taking into consideration shipping and fees, my other expenses, my virtual assistant expenses, poly bags, all of the things it takes to run a business, and then not including what I take out for taxes. If you want to see a full breakdown of all of that, all of the behind the scenes profit and loss of a reselling business, check out my How Much Money I Make playlist. I do a monthly video on breaking down my entire profit and loss statement. So if you guys want to see all of that detail for running a reselling business, check out that playlist. But for this purpose, it's just taking out the cost of goods. I have been working on lowering my cost of goods. It's one of my 2022 goals, and this is where it gets into liquidation versus the thrifted outlet bins. In 2020 into 2021, I started doing liquidation because it was a pandemic. We couldn't really be going places. And then I was remote teaching my children. So I really had no time to source. I started doing liquidation because I could, order pallets at night when my kids were asleep and process it, during the day or in the evening or on weekends or whatever. It was much easier. That, however, comes at a cost. And I will show you. If we go ahead over here on the Sarah Style Sales and Trends dashboard, this is my average sale price and my average cost of goods. This is completely customizable. So these are the places that I source from. You go in if you have this and you can put in the different places that you source from and can see how they compare. But you can see down here, these pallets is liquidation. The average cost of goods, $12, $9, $19. Pallet A, $7.79. And you can see the profit, making $9 on average, $11 on average. When you compare that to the bins, $1.90 on average is my cost of goods, and I'm making $31. Thrift stores, my average cost of goods is $5. I'm making $28. You can see from my perspective, from my data, the Goodwill outlet bins and thrift stores, lower cost of goods, higher profit. However, that's not always the case everywhere that you source, and it wasn't manageable for me a year and a half ago. But I am really working on lowering my cost of goods, keeping my average sale price the same. 2 years ago when I used to go to the outlet bins, it was really hard for me to not just pick up everything, and my average sale price wasn't there. So I am working really hard on being very diligent in what I pick up, keeping my average sale price around that $35 while lowering my cost of goods. And this is going to increase my net. And this is one reason that even though my gross sales were down, I'm actually pretty excited because I made more net. So let's go ahead and share that chart again. This is my 2022 numbers. So my average profit is $28.48, and I sold 208 items. I sold less items that I did last year, and I'll show you that in a minute. So I made my net, again, this is not taking out expenses, shipping, and fees. That's a whole different video, a whole different playlist. Check out How Much Money I Make playlist. but I made $5,923. And then if you go ahead and come back here and look at last year, so we're looking at 221, I made more gross, almost $700 more gross. However, because I was doing more liquidation, my average cost of goods was $9.09, which made my profit lower. My profit was only $24, which means that my net, just taking out cost of goods, was $5,702. So even though my gross was higher last year, I'm actually bringing in more money. This is a strategy of mine for 2022. And the reason is, one, who doesn't like more money? But one of the big reasons is I'm out of room. I can't grow my business. I can't have more items available. I'm out of room and I'm out of time. So the only way to make more money reselling for me is to increase my average profit and to increase my average cost of goods, right? Or my sell-through rate. I'm working on lowering my cost of goods and keeping my average sale price the same. I'm pretty comfortable in what I'm finding and knowing that I can get enough inventory to list for the month if I'm around that $35. But if I'm working on lowering my cost of goods, I'm actually going to be making more money. One other chart I want to touch on, and then we'll get into the top brands that sold for me this month and then the actual items that sold. This over here is how many items I've listed out of how many items that I sold. This is what I like to track for Reseller Nirvana. If you follow Chris at A Daily Refinement, he talks a lot about Reseller Nirvana. In the past months, I was listing the same amount that I was selling, and that allows me to make forecasts and to figure out exactly what I need to do to make the money that I want to make. It also allows me to say, hey, I'm listing way more items than I'm selling. What's wrong? For this month, I'm not concerned with this at all because I talked about all the reasons that I wasn't making sales this month, as well as I normally list 10 items a day. However, in the first week and a half when I really was, deep into COVID, I was only listing 7 a day. However, my virtual assistants were still drafting for me 10 a day. And so that goes into this number because it did make it into the spreadsheet. So I know what this means. It's not at that Reseller Nirvana that I like. I'm going to monitor it and make sure that come March into April, I'm back at that Reseller Nirvana. Let's go ahead and take a look at my top selling brands for the month. So we're looking at February 2022. These are my top selling gross revenue brands for the month of February 2022. These brands made me the most gross revenue in February. So the chart that we're looking at over here is my sell-through rate. Remember, that's how many items you've sold out of how many you have for sale. The higher the percent, the better your item is performing for you. I track and manage sell-through rate instead of quantity sold because you can sell a lot of items because you simply have a lot of items for sale. If I had 100 items for sale and I sold 10 of them, that's only 10%. That means 90 items that I have purchased are not selling. However, if I sold 10 items and I only had 10 items for sale, I sold 100% and I need to go buy more of those. You can see the quantity was the same, but it matters out of how many that you have for sale to give you true metrics of how it's performing. I track sell-through rate for brands, for categories, for everything, and that's why. And then average sale price. Obviously, I want things to be selling high. What of these brands are selling high? A high sell-through rate and a high average sale price is going to be a BOLO brand for me. I also have categories in here. We're not going over categories. Anything up in here would be BOLO. This month, I don't have anything really up in there. A lot of this stuff, February was a weird month for me. A lot of it's down in here. We'll talk about that, but I'm gonna go through and show you some of these sell-through rates and average sale price, and then just read over the brands for the sake of time. I don't know how to say this. Jory. This is liquidation palette, 100% sell-through rate. So everything I have from this in the month of February has sold for an average sale price of $107. This is liquidation new tags palettes. This does not always sell at this price, and you can see my average days on hand for this is 200 days. That's like 3/4 of a year. So it's not a quick mover. I rarely will pick this up thrifted. It came in a pallet and I sold it. So this down here is going to be my St. John piece, and I'll show you the actual item that sold for this. It sold for $219. Remember, this is gross revenue, so that is including shipping. I think it was a eBay International Standard shipping, so it was $19 to send. I don't remember where it went, but I think it was an international seller. 25% sell-through rate for St. John. So I have 4 pieces total for this. Fry, who doesn't love selling Fry? I sold a couple pairs. I think I'm going to show you one pair of boots definitely that sold 50%. So of the 2 pairs of Fry that I had available, one of the 2 sold. 50% sell-through rate for an average sale price of $101.64. Ralph Lauren, 42%. So 42% of the Ralph Lauren that I had available sold at an average sale price of $43. I'm very specific in the Ralph Lauren that I pick up. I don't know if I pulled any Ralph Lauren this time. Some of it's going to be new attacks from palettes. Purses typically is what I'm going to pick up from Ralph Lauren. Harriet, which is interesting, they make boots, really high quality boots that are going to sell. What's interesting, and I pulled one for you, is some of this 40% sell-through rate for Harriet that sold for me, it was actually a pair of jeans, which is not their typical normal that I would pick up. That's why I pulled it for you. We'll look at a couple more and then I'll just read down the list for you. Coach is always on my list. Some people say it doesn't sell. You can see here it is the long game. My average days on hand for Coach is $228. It is a long game, but we're talking on average, oh sorry, it clicked off. We're talking on average it's selling for $80. I don't mind having a little bit longer end game if it's going to sell for $80, and then a 13% sell-through rate. I do want to speak quickly to the sell-through rate because people always ask me what's a good sell-through rate. Compare to yourself and compare to the market. I'm not going to show you in this video how to compare to the market, but check out my Terra Peak video, how-to video. I will link it up above, and that shows you how to look things up in Terra Peak and see how it's selling on eBay and comparing your sell-through rate to the sell-through rate of the market, which would be eBay, but then comparing to yourself. So for the month of February, my sell-through rate was 8.9%, right? This has a 13% sell-through rate. That is better than my normal, which means this is a good brand, a good sell-through rate for me. All right, so let's go ahead and read through the list. Free People is up there. Nike made it. Columbia, St. John, Skechers, Crocs, Joey, Coach, the North Face, Ralph Lauren, Athleta. Nike's on there twice, which is a typo. That just means when I was entering in the data, it got entered in incorrectly. Dansko, Fry, Rebecca Taylor, Cut from the Cloth, Ariat, Banana Republic, and Torrid. I am going to mention Cut from Cloth is a jean brand. I don't know if I have brought any of those up, but I am doing a jean analysis. I'm sharing my top 20 jean brands from 2021, as well as comparing jeans, 2 different videos comparing jeans, how they sell on Poshmark versus how they sell on eBay. So make sure to hit that subscribe video so you guys can see when that comes out. My top 20 jean brands, because I don't think I'm sharing it this video. Let's look at actual items that sold. You will see this is going to be heavy on eBay because, well, I'll show you really quickly. My eBay is definitely much better than my Poshmark. You know, it's about a little over double this month. Typically it's triple, but as you can see, I suppressed my sales at the beginning of the month. So my eBay was actually down from last month. The other thing that I didn't note, another reason, I didn't think about this until I just said this because this is part of why eBay was down and a lot of people are complaining about Poshmark. There were updates on the platforms. That always is going to impact the back end. When they are making updates, it is going to impact your sales. Don't get alarmed. It always happens. If within a month or 2 it's still impacting your sales, then go ahead and look at things. But while they're doing the seller updates on eBay, and Poshmark went through and made some updates and then they went back and changed them because everyone was complaining. That's a whole nother video, but that it could be part of the reason too that my eBay was down, in addition to other reasons that I talked about. Let's look at actual items that sold. Point of looking at that chart is that you're going to see more eBay than you're going to see Poshmark, strictly because I have more eBay sales than Poshmark. There's just a bigger quantity. So I'm just going to share some of these. I don't actually think this made it to my top 20 brands. Some of them I picked just because they're really interesting and I want to talk about it. This sold within a week. I think within 2 days that it sold, and it sold for full asking price. I wouldn't have normally picked this up. So I actually got this. I have not sourced in 2 months. I have not gone to a thrift store or the bins. I have purchased from other resellers that are liquidating their inventory. with the new tax update, a lot of resellers are saying, hey, this is not worth it for me. And I've purchased inventory from other resellers. I bought an entire closet, almost 1,000 items. I can link the video. I only get so many cards. So if it's not linked to the cards, I will link it down below of the entire closet buyout video that I did. That's allowed me to keep listing as I haven't been sourcing. But this I purchased from someone else's inventory. I don't think I would have purchased this at a thrift store. So that's kind of the nice thing about looking at buying from other people is you learn new brands. Crocs did make it up there. This is Ginger Marvin. I've watched some of her videos, and I know I didn't used to pick up Crocs. I didn't realize that they retailed so high, and I didn't realize their resale value was so high. You know, they retail at $50, so they don't retail, you know, $200, and they're selling at about 50% of their retail value. So for reselling, that's a pretty good return. These were new without tags. I always look as far as shoes. I rarely will say that, but on shoes, you can usually tell. Like, these have never been worn. So I say new without tags, but I still list, put that in there. These were new with tags. You can see the tag is there. One reason I want to show you the Crocs is most of the Crocs I'm going to show you are not the normal Crocs style. I will buy those if they're in like phenomenal condition, but what I'm noticing with the Crocs that sell are more of the unique Crocs, like these sandals or those ballet flats, or some of the like printed kids ones. And I'll show you, I think I have a couple other Crocs to show you in a minute. Athleta, you know, it's a mover. It's average sale price. You know, this sold for $20. This sold the same day that I put it on Poshmark for an offer of $20. And you guys will see in a minute too, the Athleta that I'm picking up is going to be like, this is a unique print, or if it has a pocket. Their jogger styles, not necessarily their leggings, their jogger styles are definitely selling. A plain pair of Athleta leggings would I pick up maybe at the bins if it was in really good condition. The other thing that I like about Athleta, let's see. Yeah, so you can see here in this photo, it tells you the holiday or the season. So HO16 means holiday 16. So these are, you know, a little bit older. If they didn't have the unique print on them, I probably wouldn't have picked them up. If it's a plain pair of Athleta pants, nothing special about it, but that said, you know, F22, fall of 22, well, that wouldn't be F21, I'd pick them up because they are like a brand new style they're going to sell. Nike's up there. Don't discount children's. This was a Nike puffer jacket sold for $24 on eBay. Don't discount children's. This is a vintage Columbia. So Columbia made it up there. I don't buy everything from Columbia, but it's still one of my top sellers. It always is. It's as far as, okay, so let me take this back. I live in Colorado. I see a lot of outdoor athletic type brands. Columbia is up there, North Face. Patagonia didn't make it this month, mostly because I don't have a lot of Patagonia. It always sells as soon as when I purchase it, and you don't find it at the thrift store very often because it lasts a long time. And Patagonia actually has their own buyback and resell within their Patagonia. So that's the Patagonia. But Columbia is one of the lower brands. You know, North Face retails higher. Patagonia definitely retails higher. There's a lot of new brands coming out that people are on the lookout for. But Columbia, you know, this is unique. It's 70s, 80s. It was vintage. It is kids, but this sold via offer. So sometimes it shows here and sometimes it doesn't. Sold for $40 via offer for a kid's snowsuit. I'll take that. Skechers. So I wanted to bring this up because also Ginger Marvin kind of got me into Skechers as well. The thing that I'm noticing with Skechers, and stay tuned because I am kind of just playing with it. Let me know what you notice from Skechers, what's selling in Skechers. The vintage Y2K chunky shoes, that's what's selling. I have a couple others, like maybe some of the shape ups. And some of the flats, but definitely what's selling at the higher, warranting the higher price is these vintage Y2K Skechers. Coach, I had an offer for this for like $20 a couple of weeks ago when sales were really slow. One of the tips I'll tell you, and I do have the video linked down below of things that I do. One of the things I do to get sales to kind of come back after I intentionally suppress them is I have a yes day. Any offer that I get, I accept. I did that this weekend, or a couple weekends ago. I accepted every single offer except for the one I got on this. This was listed at $133 and I got an offer for $20 on it. And I was like, I just can't do that. There was a couple, pair of jeans that I accepted $15 and I was thinking I was going to get closer to $25 just to get sales going again. Couldn't have a yes day on this, and then I waited, and thankfully I didn't because it then sold for $106. Nike. So a couple things with this. I bought these because Nike shorts I don't always buy. They are consistent movers. I knew these ones would sell pretty quickly and higher because if you guys watch Cheer on Netflix, it's like a cheer competition. If you watch what their people are wearing, what the cheerleaders are wearing in this, they're these shorts. They're these pants with the Nike. I'd venture to say that Nike sponsored them because if you notice, almost every single person, cheerleader in there at some point during the show, if not all of them, have on these types. The other thing that I like about Nike as well is you can see here it says SU18, so that's summer 18. You can tell these are 2 to 3 years old. I've been much more picky with a Nike that I'm picking up. It is on my top list. Like you notice, the sell-through rate is not what I'd like it to be, and I'll show you how I know that. So like I said, my average sell-through rate for last month is lower than normal, but it was 8%, and Nike here is 8.62%. So that's less than my average, and for it to be a good brand for me, a Bolo brand for me, I like it to be higher. So I'm definitely being pickier with the Nike that I pick up, and this is one of the ways that I'm doing it. Either vintage Y2K and 90s, 80s Nike, or within the past couple of years Nike. Here's Nike. Again, sold for $31, but you can see here, like I said, these are 16. So I don't know why I picked these up. To be honest, I'm glad that they sold. These may have been something that I picked up a little bit later or earlier before I'm trying to be a bit more picky, but these are a hyper warm, which probably helped, and they are a little bit something more unique. That Nike right there, that the waistband right now is very similar to the other one. Athleta. So these sold within a week, but these are something that is a little bit different, right? They have the ombre. They are really good condition. Something that I look for on, they have a little bit of pilling right there, but not too bad. Something I look for on leggings. Let's see what year it is. These are 9/15. So I'm actually kind of surprised they sold as quickly as they did, but they're a little bit more unique. The North Face. Honestly, friends, I am beyond surprised that these sold for $42 on Poshmark. I was anticipating like $20. The North Face still makes my list, my top brands list pretty often. I see a lot of it here, but its resale value is going down. There's a lot more outdoor brands that people are going towards than the North Face. Is not nearly as popular as it was a couple years ago. Something that's sticking out to me and why these sold the same day for an offer as they were listed, but the extra large I think probably helped them sell as well. These are the Ariat. So typically it's going to be cowboy boots-ish, Western style boots that you're going to find. These are jeans. I think I got these from, I don't know, and now I'll keep an eye out for them. I don't know that I would have necessarily picked them up, but these came from a reseller that I was buying inventory for, and I said, I like selling jeans, I like listing jeans, I like taking photos of jeans, I'll list them and see how they sell. They did sell for an offer of $40. So they didn't warrant this $60, but still $40 for a pair of jeans. I would put those on my jeans Bolo list for sure. Dansko, they're professional clogs is what most people know. Dansko, I like selling some of their other shoes as well. They sell for, $20 to $40 depending on the style. Here's another pair of Crocs, slightly different. These sold for an offer. I don't know. If you guys do what sold videos or you look at it, let me know. I go into my what sold on eBay, my orders, and then do it from there because I don't want it to show the information of the people who bought it, but it doesn't always show the offer. So these did sell for an offer of like $28 maybe. Another pair of Skechers, Y2K, chunky. These didn't even have the shoelaces. I got them at the bins. These also sold for an offer of, I think, $35 to $40. So definitely keep an eye out for those Y2K Skechers. Fry, I love a good pair of Fry, especially when I find them at the bins. These are amazing. These sold for a best offer of $100. This was on a say yes weekend that I had to get my sales going. I Probably would have countered if it was not a say yes weekend. I probably could have gotten closer to the 130 mark for a pair of Frye boots. But, you know, I still made $100 on them, so not mad at that. Columbia, so this one's a little bit more unique. I actually bought this for myself. It's like a parka, but it's insulated, so it's not like a snow jacket, which I really liked, but it's their Sherpa lined. I think it was, let me see if it's their thermal coil, so it was going to be really warm, but it was like a parka, you know, kind of a cuter winter jacket. Bought it for myself and it didn't fit, so I sold it. These did not make my list, but I want to point it out because these are mine. I wear mostly minimal shoes, zero, what's the word? I can't think of the word. But if you find minimal shoes, they sell. And this is a pair, these are Vibram. I'm not even going to try and pronounce how you say this, but they're wrapping shoes. They are tore up. Let me show you the bottoms. These are mine. And I'm selling them because I'm not wearing them anymore. You can see the bottom is so worn out, and they still sold for, this was an offer, they sold for $25, and they sold with under a month. So these Vibram 5 Fingers is another brand. Lems makes some, Merrell makes some minimal shoes. Look up minimal shoe brands. Zero is another brand, and they will sell for sure. So keep an eye out for those. Columbia, these sold on an offer as well. These sold for $15 on an offer. So on an offer, like I said, not a huge mover, but Columbia definitely moves, and it's a brand that I see a lot. Would I go out and search for it? Probably not. Do I see it? I go to the thrift store, or I cannot go sourcing at a thrift store or the bins without seeing Columbia. So it's an easy thing for me to find, and it's an easy mover. Again, Skechers, these sold the same day. See, now this is best offers. So sometimes it says that, sometimes it doesn't in this screen. So I apologize for that, guys. I'm not quite sure how to show you a better way. If you guys know, let me know down below. These sold the same day for a best offer of $30. Not the Y2K style, but you know, it's slightly different than like the tennis shoes you're gonna see. This Nike jacket, I found 2 of them. Roger Federer, apparently he's a tennis person. I have no idea. I still have no idea what this is, but it is a collab, and I will always look up items when I find them as a collab. It's Nike, and then it had this, and then I think this one had, no, it says it there. I have 2 of them for sale. I don't think it shows this one. So the other one had something on the back. This sold for a best offer of $120, I think it was. And I took it, and I'm going to show you why. I hope I'm not kicking myself in the foot and getting a return on this, but it did have a hole in it, and it still sold for $120. I do know how to sew. I could have probably gone in there and sewn it. I didn't want to. So I'm assuming the person that bought it knows that it sells. This is the $200 St. John that I sold. It is Santana knit blazer skirt set and a size 12. I think because it's a Santana knit, it's a unique style, and it's a size 12 is why it sold so quickly. I had it listed for I think $250. I got an offer the same day or the next day that I listed it for $20, and I absolutely took it. St. John, their Santana knit still sells pretty well. Most of the other St. John is not really great. This is the only one that I have, so it's not making my top 20 list, but I wanted to share with you because they are kind of a bolo. I had them for a little bit, and the reason that I did is, let me show you the size. I don't know. So I took a picture of the insole. Let me show you. Okay, so here's why I had them for a little bit. Normally they would sell quicker. You can see here, let me show you. It says women's size 8, but then it was marked off. And then I think it also said somewhere that it was like a sample or something. And that's why I took a picture of this, because I was like, I don't know if it's a size 8 or 9. So here's a picture of the actual size of it. And I had quite a few questions on it. I think a lot of people were a little nervous to buy it. Even though I offer free returns, it did finally sell for $78. And then another pair of Crocs. Do not discount kids. Kids Crocs definitely sell. These are a little bit more unique, you know, than their normal style of kids Crocs or of Crocs, but kids Crocs are definitely selling as well. If you like this video, YouTube also thinks that you'd like this video. I will link a playlist here of how to make money reselling, and then make sure to hit that subscribe button.